Welcome. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Otis Landerholm, and welcome to today's episode of the Empowered Immigrant Live. And today I'm going to be talking about what is happening in Minnesota and what does it mean for you. And so welcome, and thank you for being here. I am an immigration lawyer. All right, and I am a certified specialist in immigration law, and I'm the founding attorney here at Landerholm Immigration, A.P.C, where we fight for your American dream. And today I am quite disturbed by what is happening in one of our sister states, the state of Minnesota, and I want to discuss that with you today. And before we get into it, really welcome whatever platform you're on right now, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. All right. Remember, the Empowered Immigrant Live is here to train, teach, inspire, and empower immigrants to make the most out of immigration laws and to make the most out of their lives. All right. Why do we do that? Because immigrants matter. All right. Immigrants are important. Immigrants are valuable. Immigrants are amazing. Immigrants are awesome. All right. I have the honor and pleasure to work with hundreds and thousands, or to have worked with hundreds and thousands of immigrants from various countries all throughout the world. And I really love my job. I love doing what I do every day, helping people navigate the complexities of the U.S. immigration system, really with the goal of improving the amount of freedom that they have in their lives. All right, and so if you are an immigrant, my question for you is, hey, do you want to get a green card? Do you want to apply for citizenship or asylum or VAWA or a U visa? Or do you want to figure out what's the best option? What's the best strategy? What's the best approach? Right? Because if so, go for it. And I'd love to help you with that. My firm is on a mission to win 10,000 immigration cases in the next 10 years. We would love for your case to be one of them. Okay? As I'm talking today, as always, if you have questions, please feel free to submit your questions. I'll do my best to answer them right here, right now, live. Okay? So we're recording this. It is the 27th of January of 2026, and so welcome to today's episode of the Empowered Immigrant Live. I'm grateful to you for being here with me. So what I'm talking about today, I'll get into my topic, and then we'll open it up for questions afterwards. What I'm talking about today matters, folks, all right? It matters to our communities. It matters to the type of nation that we become. It matters to every citizen, every human being who believes in the Constitution and who believes in the rule of law. It matters as to whether or not we can become a country that values human lives and that values humanity. You know, my son received an email this morning from his high school addressing parents and children who are so nervous right now to attend school because of what's going on in Minnesota. Right? What's happening right now is terrifying. It's out of control. It's violent. It's unreal. It's unacceptable. And so, thank you for being here, and I just want to talk about it. All right? You've probably seen it in the news. There's now 2 people who have been shot and killed by ICE. Alex Pretty and Renee Nicole Good are the 2 people who have been shot and killed by ICE in their protesting. And the latest, Trump had a call yesterday with Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, and apparently it was quote-unquote productive, and apparently Tom Homan, the director of ICE nationally, is on his way to Minnesota, or maybe he just arrived. And he's going to help bring new leadership to the operation that they have going on in Minnesota. And there are serious protests happening, all right? Protesters are calling ICE Nazis, right? and Gestapo, right? And there's a federal lawsuit that has been filed by the state of Minnesota to prevent ICE from being able to racially profile people and to sue them, saying that they should not be allowed to use quote unquote excessive force in Minnesota. And the state's lawsuit says that right now ICE officials are, quote, engaged in a campaign of racial profiling, excessive force, retaliation, enforcement at sensitive locations, and open disregard for and violations of defendants' own policies, which they're talking about the government's own policies, and an open disregard for and violations of state law. So those are the words inside of the state of Minnesota's lawsuit against federal officials. Okay? It's big stuff, and it's nasty, and it's awful, and my heart goes out to the people of Minnesota. And, you know, people need to be able to protest. People need to be able to demonstrate when we disagree with what the government is doing. That's called First Amendment free speech. And that needs to exist in a democracy. When people are protesting in favor of immigrants, they are acting 100% in line with the First Amendment. They're exercising their constitutional right, their human right to political speech. No one should ever be in danger for doing that. Not in the United States, not in a democracy. And you see it in connection with these other things that are happening. You saw last week, ICE has a secret memo instructing officers that they can break into people's homes without a warrant. And a couple weeks ago, we saw orders within the immigration court system telling immigration judges to disregard orders from federal judges. We're just seeing it over and over again, clear violations of the law, all right? Illegal, unconstitutional actions from our current executive branch, ICE, right? And our, you know, straight down from leadership. Really disturbing. And so, like, just sitting with this reality that we are in, it's like, okay, you're watching this. I don't know if you're in the state of Minnesota. I don't know if you're directly affected by what's happening. The question becomes, what does this mean for the rest of us? What does it mean? Well, I can't predict the future, right? But it just shows that our current administration is not playing around, and they are not playing by the rules or the laws or the United States Constitution. And in my view, they need to be held accountable to that. All right? They need to be held politically accountable. They need to be voted out of there, folks. What I am saying is my First Amendment free speech, they need to be voted out of there because they are violating the law. And if you're watching me and if you've got a case that you're filing, or if you're trying to navigate, how do you navigate this system? You know, I mean, it's like, I have been saying this really for a while, like, what do we expect from the Trump administration? What do we expect from the government in 2026, right? Well, it's not a secret, right? They're going to make our lives more difficult. They're going to deny more cases. They're going to deport more people and detain more people and delay or pause or put travel bans or put hiccups or roadblocks or cause frustration in the immigration system wherever they can. And the best place to take action, the best two places perhaps, is one, free speech activities on the street, perhaps, and two, to be ready to take it to the courts. Because the courts are the third branch of the government here. Congress isn't doing, Congress is impotent. They do not have power right now. All right, they're just going with the flow. Whatever Trump wants to do, they're doing it. Is my perspective, my opinion. All right? So what we need to be prepared to do is to take it to the courts, because that's where we can at least have some hope, right? That justice can be served, that things can be found and documented and shown reasonably that the government's violated the law. And so as we're applying for green cards or asylum or citizenship or whatever it is, we want to just be prepared, right? File it to the best of your ability, to be as professional and high quality as you possibly can, and be ready to sue about it if that gets unlawfully denied for any reason, or if your rights get violated during that process. Okay? So that's what I wanted to share today. Thank you very, very much for being here. Thank you for joining me today. My name's Otis Landerholm. I'm the founding attorney here at Landerholm Immigration, A.P.C., where we fight for your American dream. Now let's get into your questions. If you have questions, feel free to submit them. I'll do my best to answer them right here, right now, live. All right? And, I'll do my best. So I've got one question here from Rumbero72. So thank you for asking your question. You say, I just received a governor pardon for a felony not related to drugs or guns. Can I apply for an N-400? That's a really great, first of all, congratulations. All right, it is not easy to get a governor pardon. And so congratulations on getting that aspect of your situation resolved, right? And it doesn't automatically mean that you're going to be eligible to file for citizenship. It also doesn't automatically mean that you would be recommended to apply for citizenship. There are other citizenship requirements as well beyond the quote-unquote good moral character requirement, And so the best advice in your situation is let's really look at all of the records, all right? I'm glad that the felony got pardoned, but let's look at the whole case file and let's see, if there's anything else that we might need to consider before advising you whether or not to file an N-400, okay? Because I'll tell you, the government will see the pardon when you apply for citizenship. They'll see it, and they'll be like, ooh, they'll want the records. And they'll want to they'll probably want to find some reason to deny your case. All right? And so you got to be mindful of that. In your situation, the best advice is really think carefully, cautiously, and strategically about that N-400. If you're eligible, do it, yes, but do it very, very well, and you should be. You might be 100% eligible right now, and maybe they will want. If they really see the whole record, maybe they will want to grant it, depending on your situation. But it's a very, very case-by-case analysis. Okay, thank you for asking that, though, and really, congratulations again. All right. All right, user 615, I see your question here. You say, a judge granted my sister 245I, but USCIS isn't taking the check. They keep returning it. That's interesting. I have never had that issue before. A judge granted your sister's 245I case. You're saying that they have actually granted your application for a green card in court, right? So if that's true, there are what's called post-order instructions. All right, there's a sheet of post-order instructions. Maybe, like often, if the judge granted the green card, often the fees must have been paid ahead of time. Okay, so maybe double check that. Like, were those fees paid somewhere ahead of time? Or did the judge just grant like a termination of the case so that you could file the 245I? Like maybe, like my best advice is, feel free to call our office or contact our office. We could do a full legal review of your situation and really give you precise advice. But my hunch is, if the judge actually granted the 245I case, is it possible that those fees were previously paid somewhere? All right, because normally the judge would like see the receipts, and require that all of the filing fees are paid so that the judge can approve it. And so, and if they did that, then look at the post-order instructions. You can apply and send the judge's order in and send, your copy of your application in, etc., and then get a green card. Depending on and you say, we sent the check and they returned it. But what I'm saying is, was there anything submitted even before it got to the judge? How did the judge grant it if there weren't any fees paid? And so it is strange. What you're saying is, it's so weird. Yeah, you're right, user 615. Thank you for asking this. That situation's unusual. I've never come across it before. It makes me wonder if there might have been something else in the record, and maybe we should run FOIAs or do a full legal review to get you the precise advice as to how to get. It sounds like you've done everything well, right? If the judge granted your adjustment of status, that's a win, right? Now it's just hey, let's make sure to get you your green card, and we might just need to review everything that's happened so that we can do that, so that we can do that correctly. RP, they don't accept checks anymore. Not 100% accurate. Not 100% accurate. All right, and so pay attention to the instructions, and we send checks still on some cases. All right, so Coach Gail Light, Arizona. You say, good morning. My dad's I-485 was denied because he did not provide a request for evidence in time. Very common. I'm sorry to hear that. There's a couple of options here. Okay? Couple of options here. You can file a I-290B request to reopen with the evidence to respond to the I-485 as one option. Or you can refile and start over again with your I-485. All right? But move fast, whatever you do, because the way it works is, if an I-485 is denied, they could submit an NTA. All right? And so because there is, because you have an I-485 denial, it's like you want to be cautious, you want to be mindful, you want to take action quickly. And if you have a copy of the RFE that was received, then I would say file the I-290B with the RFE, with the response to the RFE, explaining why you didn't either get the RFE originally or whatever. Ask them to reopen it and do it quickly. That's what I would do. All right. All right. So let's see. All right. That's what I was asking. Can we just pay online? No, we submitted everything in together. Okay. Possible, right? So great. RP, you're saying payment methods have been changed in the last few months. No more checks. So I remember seeing that notice also, but I don't believe that it applies universally. If I'm wrong about that, then great. And maybe we are doing all of our I-485 fees, including the 245I fee, electronically via credit card. Yeah, I think we are actually right now. And so, for user 615, I'd love to look through that with you and to really analyze the documents and the records in your case. And, I'd be happy to do that in a consultation if you'd like that. All right. So, I think that's all that I have right now. Any other questions out there? Joanne is saying, my husband has been detained for 5 months in Texas, denied bond, denied cancellation of removal. I am so sorry. That is horrible. That is horrible. Denied bond, denied cancellation of removal. Is there any other, and you say that you're running out of money and time. I don't know I don't know the situation, right? And so, I understand the situation that you're saying here, but is there any other application that has been submitted? So they denied cancellation of removal. Was there any other application out there? Asylum, adjustment of status, a waiver perhaps? Was there any other application submitted? And if not, if the cancellation of removal application was the only application, and if it has now been denied, then he has a deportation order. And you have to decide, are you going to appeal or are you going to be deported? Right? And that's the situation. If we were looking at it earlier, we could think about habeas. You can maybe think about habeas right now and talk to an attorney about that. My office does not take detained cases outside the state of California, unfortunately. And I'm licensed to practice and we can do habeas cases inside of the state of California. But so you're in a difficult situation. It sounds like you have a lawyer though who has tried it, who has fought the cancellation case. I hope that's true. I hope they're good. One other thing that might be explored is if they didn't do a good job, maybe you could look at motions to reopen that cancellation case. You've already put in an appeal. Okay, all right, so you're appealing it. So maybe you're doing it right, and maybe it's just a tough case, or maybe it's a tough judge, or maybe all of the above. I'm really sorry that you're in this situation. It's awful. Okay. All right, so Miss Nidia, you say, hello, I had 2 vacated felonies over 25 years, recently vacated to a misdemeanor. Can I file an N-400? Very similar to a question from earlier, all right? So it's more than just, so first of all, congratulations on getting them vacated and then pled instead to a misdemeanor, all right? That's not easy, that takes a lot of work, and congratulations on getting that done. But it does not automatically mean that now you're in the clear to file an N-400. It might mean that, but the N-400, they're going to want to see all those records. Like, the best advice is to talk it through, show all of those records with an immigration lawyer first, so that you have good advice and good representation in your N-400 process, right? And so that's the best advice. That's the best advice. Yeah. 58 Steve L. Thank you for what you've said here. In the majority of the civilized world, removal of evidence from a crime scene is seen as perverting the course of justice. Yeah, it's obstruction of justice, right? Thank you for sharing that. I think you're talking about what's happening in Minnesota. All right. Yeah, and well, anyway, there's lots of things that are on TikTok and Instagram and in other places that I don't personally have, I haven't gone all the way to understand everything. But for one of the things that I'm thinking of as you're saying this is I saw on Instagram earlier today that there was a video that was tampered with by the government before it was released to the FBI, or was tampered with by the FBI. I don't remember which of those two things. I shouldn't share this without really doing my research. I'm relying on an Instagram post. don't do that, people. But nevertheless, what you're saying reminds me of that 58 Steve L. Because yeah, that could very well be obstruction of justice in the normal civilized world, and we're going to see what happens. There's a lot of very disturbing things that are happening right now out of all of this that's happened in the state of Minnesota. All right. Okay, you guys, thank you all very, very much for being here. All right. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for being part of this community. If this was useful, if this was helpful, and if you want more of it, please like, subscribe, follow. All right. The best place to see our content is YouTube typically, right? So if you subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notifications bell, you can receive a notification whenever we upload additional videos with news, with updates like this, etc. And yeah, it's crazy out there, but my hope for, I don't know, humanity. My hope for humanity and my hope for you listening is that you're able to bring some peace and hopefully even contribute some peace to another person in your life. All right? I'll say that again. My hope for you today is that you're able to find some peace and contribute some peace to another person in your life today. All right? Like, do that. Share peace with the people in your life, because that helps make things better. All right? That's all I got for today, folks. Thank you all so much for listening. Again, my name's Otis Landerholm. I'm the founding attorney here at Landerholm Immigration, A.P.C, where we fight for your American dream. We'll see you next time on our next episode of the Empowered Immigrant Live.